It sounds so much worse when it's the table. You tap the table.
Hello, and I think we weren't muted, so they got to hear that.
You got the whole comments of me tapping the table. Oh,
and
look,
me
we're
getting
live.
live to her because she
Carl used to
complain.
dum. And it always drove me crazy. And I'm waiting for her to tap, and I'm just playing some form of song. And she's like, "You get on the car for that." And I'm like, "We aren't live." We were live. I'm sorry.
Well, we were logging in so we could be live, and
Technology.
I didn't get it muted, so.
Okay, are we heard? I assume so.
I'm looking.
For anyone who's bored in Oklahoma City this wonderful week, this very hot, humid week, the Festival of the Arts is going on at Bicentennial Park. I highly suggest you pop out there and soak up some culture.
We are heard.
We are heard, or at least we're recorded. And hope you guys hear us out there. Let's see, we're going to do just a thing about mostly credit. I was talking to people in my Bible study group about their hardcore Dave Ramsey. They want to pay everything off and have not a single speck of debt. And we got on the topic of how that's going to affect their credit. It will drastically affect your credit if you pay everything off. Because to get more credit, you have to prove you were creditworthy in the first place. So,
Well, it's to fix your credit score. Not just, paying on time is a big thing, but also being able to keep and maintain and not fall delinquent.
yes. Now,
On a loan.
big thing is they report when you are delinquent, when you miss payments, when you slip up. It's not common for them to... Oh, she heard the children. It's not common for good payments. Like, you pay everything on time. It might ding in a few months or a couple years. It's not guaranteed to show up that you've been paying everything in a timely fashion this whole time. Bads ding almost immediately, 30 days depending on which credit system, and there's more than one. But as far as good credit, good things, that doesn't always ding unless you pay it off, or it's just their time to, it's been 2 years, she's been paying her utility bills, we'll just add this note to her credit. Bad get recorded, good not so much. And I'm all for being debt-free. But I'm also a big proponent for making sure you didn't close a door you might need open later. Keeping a line of credit out there, even a small one, can help keep those doors open for you. For instance, you paid off everything, but an example of someone I know, house burnt down, they paid everything off, and their credit started to drop because they had no debt. But they also knew that one of these vehicles was going to be crapping out in a few years, and they were planning on buying a new one. So to keep their credit good, so they could buy that car later, they got a small credit card. Small amount to them, and they had certain auto draft home bills, just auto draft from the credit card. And then the bill would come in, and they would pay the credit card. This was stuff they're going to have to pay for anyways, trash, water, cell phones, etc. And they just put that money from their paychecks aside, waited till the credit card bill came in, and then they paid it. The key points in this is that you have to wait for the statement. Because if you pay it off before it hits statement, there's nothing for them to record because you paid it off beforehand. Once that invoice, for lack of better wording, comes in, that's them having something to officially track that this was a debt. You didn't pay it off before it was due. This is here. Or sorry, before we sent you the invoice. So, thank you, Erin.
You're welcome.
And therefore, you have to wait until you get that statement to pay it. Otherwise, it won't register as a positive for you paying off that debt. You have to wait for them to acknowledge there's a debt there before you can pay it off to get the brownie points for doing that. And sorry, I was talking about taking one of the ways to keep your credit score from going down is having a line of credit, and use the example of the house burning down and then putting all their normal utilities and having it go on the credit card, and then they wait for the statement, and then they pay that.
If you're not sure, talk to your lender.
Lender.
Mortgage. a credit repair company. Sometimes you can call one and just say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. Just looking for advice from a professional who helps repair credit.
We are definitely not professionals. All I can do is give you examples from other people's stories and a little bit of my own.
But good credit is a big thing and how they look at credit. Car loan looks at car company doing a car loan, a dealership looks at credit differently than your lender does, or even the bank if they're giving a car loan.
And those free credit scores that you can get online nowadays, they might be different than what the lender uses to reference. There are 3 main companies that the lenders normally use, and they don't pull from all 3 all the time. They might pull from these 2 or that 2, depending on their lending policies or their agreements.
Have 3 big ones, because I just dealt with a lender. And depending on how your scores are with the 3, depends on what they do with them.
Yep.
And how they look at them. So it's important to talk to somebody that understands. And this person even looked online and thought they were good. They thought their credit was decent, but that was a completely different, site that they don't even use. So
yeah, like for instance, I have a credit card. Every once in a while, it's like, do you want to see where your credit score is? And it gives me a number, and it's nice to know that it's staying healthy. But you have to take it with a grain of salt, because it is not the 3 big uns that are the most likely to be used. And I had to have my credit pulled by a lender recently for something, and it came out, in my case, particularly better from those 3 big companies than it did from what my credit card was saying I had, which worked out in my favor. So it might be good to know if you get like the little update saying you went down or up, but it's pretty much just to know if your credit's moderately healthy. You still need to get with a lender or have your credit checked by one of the 3 big, or all 3 bigs if you can. Lender would be the easiest way to trigger that, to my understanding.
Yeah. So just important, stay on top of your credit, try to pay your bills on time. I mean, even the lender, paying your bills on time just makes a big difference.
Yeah, because it's better be able to ask that person for a letter for the credit company to prove that you were good credit than to have them automatically send, this person can't pay their rent, this person can't pay their lease, their people can because I'd rather go ask these people for a letter proving that I have good credit or have been a good tenant than to have to fight the negative dings, because everyone wants to acknowledge the bad thing that happens. Not everyone wants to acknowledge the good thing that happens. And I'd rather not have to fight those bad markers. I'd rather have to go deal with find references for good. And we can go right down the rabbit hole on so many things in so many ways. If you're going to buy a house, don't buy a boat. Don't get a line of credit on furniture. Talk to your lender.
And it's all those ding your credit.
All of them. So if you want to buy a house
and especially if you're in the middle of a purchase, don't go get a new line of credit to buy new furniture because you're closing next week. Guess what? You might not qualify for that mortgage now.
Yeah. Oh, biscuits. It's so if you're looking to buy a house, talk to your lender. Tell them your hopes and dreams. Well, I was going to go buy an RV this Saturday, and watch the lender go, no. Or maybe your credit's big enough that they're like, I'm not too worried about it. You're doing a 50% down conventional loan. It's not a big deal. But FHA, just tell them. And then they can verify if that's a good idea or a bad idea with your long-term goal.
You need to wait till we close.
That is also good, because every time the credit gets dinged during that closing process, they have to redo paperwork to make sure you can still qualify for the house. Mm-hmm. Make it easier on everyone and just wait.
Also.
Yes. Cause delays, cause trouble, cause drama, cause you extra fees because they had to recheck your credit or have underwriting run it again. Nickel and dime. It just adds up. And more than anything, time is invaluable in my bias. And would you rather have your house in the traditional 30 to 45 days or wait? You now have to wait 60 because you decided to see if you could buy a car and it dinged your credit.
And in this market, they might not
take that very well.
Yes.
No. This is a hot market. It is a seller's market. If you need to sell or even thinking about selling, or you think you might need a second opinion and see if you can even do a sell, get a hold of us.
Yes.
And we'll get you to the people that can help you the best, whether it be a lender, our distressed properties division, etc. Whatever we will get you connected to someone that can hopefully help you understand what your options are and make the best choice for you. It's still your decision, it's your call, but it's nice to get an outsider's perspective from time to time. Especially, I could talk all day. Please, if you want to sell your house, now is a fabulous time. If you're even remotely interested, give us a call. There's a number.
You guys have a good weekend.
We are WRME Live, where we do real life, real world real estate every day.